All right, good morning and welcome back to our channel. Princess It today remains the 30th of June 2025, and it's a wonderful Monday morning. We just got wind that the Eagles have landed, the five-man delegate landed back into country from Switzerland, but that's not what I'm talking about this morning actually. So I just want to go about some questions and answers that borders on the disbursement delay and some of the things that we need to know, the paraphernalia of the disbursement that are yet to be exposed to some of us. So I'll be taking some questions and answers this morning, and this is a little bit mouthful. Let's just see how far this could take us. Just relax. This also could get some of your questions in time answers. All right, so the first question here says, just want to confirm either those that travel to Switzerland have returned or not, sir. All right, I think that answers that question. The first video I dropped this morning answers that question, and that they have landed according to the information we got, that they finally here. So I think going forward, what we should expect is the good news they came back with. We don't expect such caliber of high classified treaty to be signed, and it doesn't return with some good measures pressed down, shaken together. You understand? So I expected that what should be expected going forward is the good news that should trail their return back to the country, not empty-handed, not stories that touch the heart, not any more delay tactics. As you know this grand ecosystem, so we should expect something better than that, and we're expecting to get further updates from their return in a couple of days from now, beginning from this week. Today is a fresh day. All right, that answers the first question. Secondly says, good morning, sir. Do you have any idea if the bundle has been increased from one bundle to more than one? All right. Well, this question actually flew within the grand ecosystem over time, some time ago, but I think this question has been addressed before now. Yes, the time it was raining about one bundle allocation has passed. In fact, for the records, it really blew the ecosystem upside down, where some section were saying that you don't have to give cash to everybody. You can just buy some goody like buy rice, buy tomatoes, buy popcorn and all that. I beg your pardon, that's not what I mean. But then a couple of people were saying that everything doesn't have to be monetized, but you can buy some food items and give to the people. But that looked to me like so much absurd. After someone has waited for 4-5 years, then you give me a bag of rice. Did he tell you that he can't buy a bag of rice? He's been eating more than a bag of rice since he's been waiting. He would definitely rather prefer the monetary aspect, which should be lump sum and wholesome. So, but eventually we got wind that that was done over with, and the bundle allocations was back to normal, because you don't expect someone who actually registered like 5-6 clusters and you give him one cluster. What happens to the other 5,000? Because a cluster is composed of 1,000 personnel. So what happens to the remaining 5,000? You dump them, or you just take them to the market to go and start picking tomatoes and what have you? No, it doesn't make sense to me. So I think that was finally done with, and it was reverted back to the normal cluster you have, cluster you're going to disburse to. I think that answers that question. Then straight away to question 3. Sir, in respect of the disbursement, is this week goalpost 100% guaranteed? Well, I am not Apostle Ken, and I'm not the government. So when it comes to the disbursement of this fund, we follow the process systemically, one step at a time. So we we are all stakeholders in this, but there are the gatekeepers in this particular grant ecosystem. I think until when they come out to tell us that this is the time for disbursement and this is the week, even though they are quite a little bit careful in mentioning, there appears to be some level of syndrome in the grant ecosystem where you say one thing in the morning, by evening time there is a shift. And for those of us who have been in this all along, we understand what I'm saying. Not because the information in the morning was not correct or accurate. It is. But there are some forces that militate. And that's why when we see sometimes, let us pray, some people get offended. I say, must we pray at all times? I agree with you. Not every time you have to pray. Action needs to synergize with your praying mode. But there are times that the forces at bay, they need to be taken into custody. Information accurate in the morning, but by evening time, before bedtime, information seems to be shifted. And but one day, that shackle will break, and every aching family, every widow woman, every motherless woman or motherless child or orphan is going to get respite for their long-held promise that has been delayed for too long. So I think that answers that question in a jiffy. The time tag, knowing that on this channel we are wary of giving timeline or predictions as it hasn't worked over time. So I'm very careful in talking about time. Let's just follow things as it unfolds systemically. Now, the arrival of this delegate, we hope it's going to be a good news just in waiting. So let that rest for that. Then we have a question 4 that says, issues of this week, next week has been a recurrent decimal during our questions and answers series. How long are we going to be on this recurrent decimal? Is there any hope for this week or even next week as the usual saying? Thank you. All right. If you listen to me carefully, in the third question, this answers the fourth question. All right. Question 5 says, what is the truth about the delegate that traveled to Switzerland? Are they back now, sir? It's the repetition of the first question. They're on ground, according to information source we got at the wee hours of this morning. All right. Question 6, please, those CEOs that are not concerned to disburse immediately they receive the fund, what is the faith of those that their names have been submitted to them? Now, as of now, we haven't had any intel concerning a batch by batch disbursement or a phase disbursement. The information reaching us right now is going to be a one-time rollout disbursement process to all and sundry. In other words, anyone who is expected to receive fund within this time, everybody is going to receive at the same time. So unless that information changes with time, but for now, it remains the same, that there is not yet batch by batch disbursement. Thank you very much. All right. Then question 7 says, the spirits are very high. With respect to this, our great expectation this week, sir, what could be the only thing that could deter this avalanche of rain from falling this week? By the special grace of God, we are very optimistic that this week is going to bring us some good news and a better response. With the advent of these delegates in the country, I am so optimistic that they would definitely deliver something this week. It is my personal optimism. I'm trusting God that it will be fine by God's special grace. And this week we prefer more positive response for all of us, much more than we ever anticipated before now. So let's be very positive. Let's be optimistic and know that God will do everything that will work to our favor. All right, thank you very much. Then What's our expectation this week as regarding disbursement, sir? It's the same question. It's the same question. Our expectation this week, I've answered that. Our expectation this week is blessing by God's grace. Question 9, sir. The 5 delegates are they? You see, a lot of people are asking this question. A lot of people. The delegates, are they back? Are they back? Finally, they're back. That's just, if you post anything, they would ask you, even if not the subject of what you posted, they will still ask you, what we want to hear is that the delegates are back. Now we got wind, they are back. The next question should be, what are they here with? You understand? What are they here with? So, and I want to believe that they should be here with good news for every one of us. All right. Then question 10 says, let me see. All right. The next question we have here, that's question 10, says, sir, is there anything like CBN slot? Are they paying for it? A friend called me that they are paying for CBN slot, 5,000 depending. Well. You know, we had some level of inconsistencies a couple of months ago concerning the CBN slot. Not because that name, that name, that appellation or the nomenclature is a wrong appellation. You don't call anything CBN slot. The CBN came to debunk that assertion to tell the public that they have no affiliation with anything called the CBN slot. Then they had to call it some other names. So, but there's a lot of scamming going on, all in the name of the CBN slot. CBN slot is the same thing as government slot or government disbursement or whatever you understand. So it's still the same thing. But there is, but there is also a lot of scamming that goes on with that. So you have to be very careful of who you invest your fund with. All right, I'd rather call it a government slot than CBN slot. You understand? So, and they have their own lot, massive lot. It's just because they are greedy kind of mongrels. The government are so greedy. Else they are cut out. The cut share they have is so massive. So I wonder why they want to plunder themselves into the treasury of the masses. You know, and that's one of the things slowing down disbursement, because they are greedy. They have their share, very huge and massive. I got it from a reliable source, you know. So, but we just have wickedness in the system. So there is government slot. Beg your pardon. There is government slot. So, but be careful. A lot of scammers, fraudsters are parading themselves to collect, you know, to promise you humongous amount when you pay them certain amount of money and all that. So be careful of your investment. Question 11 says, please, were our leaders able to complete the process and documentations at the CBN on Thursday? Well, that is left for them. There's a possibility for that. All right. There is a possibility for that. All the meetings they have been having, a high profile meeting tailored towards successful delivery. The last one they had at the villa was successful, and we hope that this also was completed. All right, then all these slots that people are selling left, right, is it genuine? I just answered that before the last one. Be careful. Be careful. Some of them are, some of them are not. And that is why I personally did not even invest into that. I didn't, just simply because you don't know the wrong hands that are out there trying to prey on you, the little one you have. So it's better. The bordered hand is worth more than 1,000 in the forest yet uncaught. So we just have to be very careful. If you have someone very reliable, a source, why not? Why not? It's for project. Okay, so but if not, be careful. All right. Question 14 says, what is the problem? Why this UAS/UAAG grant has not been disbursed up till now? Government. One word answer. The problem is the government, not the grant handlers, not Apostle Ken, not Theobald, not Supreme, not what have you, not grant handlers. The problem is the government, and that is why the International Monetary Fund had to step into the affairs to ensure fairness, transparency, and equitable delivery. And that's one of the reasons why they had to invite them to Switzerland to ensure that they sign a 4-day ultimatum for delivery, because they saw the hanky-panky, the monkey hand that appears to be like a human hand in Nigerian ecosystem. And so they're not ready to fall in for that. That was the essence of the treaty, an agreement that they were invited for at Switzerland. So we hope to get further updates from their return, what they did, what they came with, how does that translate to cash going forward, and how soon does this manifest and materialize for the expecting beneficiaries who have been on the line of queue for a long time. That answers the questions. All right, this says, please, what signs would we see to know that disbursement has started? Probably. All right, this question is actually funny. When you see a lot in your bank account, you know that disbursement has started. Nobody needs to tell you that. That's your money resting inside your account once it lands. So that is the answer I can give you for that. Question 16 says, I hope the process is completed. Can we expect money in our account this new week? Trust in God, trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus but to trust and obey. That's the answer I will give you this week, next week, tomorrow, next tomorrow. Just trust in God, believe in the process. There is fund. Don't let anybody bamboozle you concerning that. There is fund, but the time I can't tell you. We just follow the process as it goes. All right. 17 question. Is disbursement feasible this week? I've answered that before. Question 18. Is it true that there were some big boys that have collected their funds before the rest of us, the ones we heard of earlier back then? If true, why is the process of the regular people delayed then? Now, what did you just call them? You call them the big boys. That we're in the country where legs are longer and bigger than each other, you know, and these are people that you personally might be better than, but somehow they seems to have much longer legs than you. That's why you attributed big boys to them in the first place. Now, and we got wind that if they were not taken out of the way, disbursement becomes so Herculean for you. So it's just what you're seeing right now is a tip of the iceberg if the big boys were not taken out of the way. So that we're talking about the high-profile retired government officials. Some of them are what they call these people, generals, you know, in past. Army officials and some other high-ranking officials. I've forgotten their calibers now, but the profile are so high, and they are part of the gatekeepers within the grand ecosystem here. If they were not settled, they will scuttle the process somehow. They have money, but it's part of the greedy nature of mankind. So let's just forget about them. Beg your pardon. Let's just thank God that they were settled according to the information we got. All right, this should be the last question. Oh, no. I think we still have one more. So when are we expecting your whistle? When Apostle Ken blew the whistle. Okay, how much are we expecting for each beneficiaries in UAAG? Please do yourself a favor. I've done a comprehensive video on this. On this platform, we have over 2,000 uploaded videos for your field. In other words, you could lay your hands on any of them, and they have been categorized into playlists so that as we drop them, we'll take time to prepare these messages for you, and you can also go through them. You get all your questions answered. I've done a comprehensive question and answers before now, but other questions are coming forward which we need to attend to, and that's why all the appellations, just for the let me just briefly talk about this. Actually, for UAAG and UAAGs from 2-3 million, or to some extent 5 million, and all that going forward. The AGPGN is a palliative of around 300,000 or to 500,000. Then the Theobald is almost the same thing as UAAG. Then the Supreme and the Saint Rita, they are almost their project fund delivery. They are not as much also, but UAAG, Theobald, and the high classic region for everyone who subscribed to that. And don't forget that we wouldn't get the same thing, because the more group or the more NGO you subscribe to, the more your fund. You're going to receive fund in all of the NGOs you subscribe to. Some subscribe to 1, some 2, some 3 and 4. So you don't expect to get the same thing. But once you discover that the one you subscribe to and the one I subscribe to, there is variation in the payment, you need to scream out, because somebody is you know what I mean. Why should yours be short-circuited when we subscribe to the same NGO, but I receive less? You got bigger. So you need to scream. EFCC are also been tagged with this, so that everyone singular CEO should be accountable and should be brought to book in case of mismanagement of funds. All right, thank you very much, and I think I'm drawing the curtain for this morning commentary. And this is Prince's channel. In case you're new, do kindly subscribe and hit the bell so that you don't miss out on vital updates. When we drop one, you have one. Thank you very much. Subscribe, and let's get along in formidable indestructiveness. God bless you. Have a nice day.